Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to share 3 easy literacy activities your students can do at home to help them become better readers. Now, I've been doing YouTube for a few years now, and also back when I was a first grade and K through 2 literacy teacher, I would get parents all the time asking, what can I do at home? How can I help my own child become a better reader? And there are so many ideas that naturally my teacher brain kind of thinks of, but without a teaching background, it can be difficult for parents to come up with something that they know is effective or engaging. And even just being a parent myself, I know that working with my own kids can sometimes be a little more difficult than working with students. They just don't listen as well. So in today's video, I really want to focus on some engaging and effective activities that your students, caregivers, or grown-ups don't have to feel, anxiety around when they go home and try to do these with their own kids. They're going to be simple and easy to implement. When I was brainstorming these ideas for this video, I thought these would be some great ones to do at a literacy night if you have one of those at your school, or an open house where parents might be wondering, how they can help their kids at home. But of course, if these activities are great for at home, they're also great for in school as well. So if you're ready to hear these ideas, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. I have 3 ideas I want to share with you today, but I'm going to start off with a bonus tip first. It won't even count as an idea because the first thing that you want your students and their parents or caregivers to do together is read. Now, I always emphasize to parents that they want to read to and with their children. If their children are not reading yet, that is a-okay. I want them to read a story together as often as possible. Now, if they can't read a bedtime story every night, that's okay. Shoot for maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week, but ideally I would like students reading at least 5 to 10 minutes every day if they can. My husband and I take turns reading to our kindergartner every single night. He is an emergent reader, so we are mostly reading to him and with him and kind of asking him what's happening in the story. My older son Theo is in first grade and he is an excellent reader. He has a whole bunch of chapter books upstairs that he loves to read independently. So instead of slowing him down in, his own words and going in and reading to him, instead I like to kind of check in and just see what's going on in the stories he's reading. I might ask him what his favorite part is, or show me the pages you read tonight already and what happened in those pages. How is that different from yesterday? Just checking in with him. So other than just reading with their children, what else can we do? Activity number 1 is to practice phonemic awareness. Now, again, that might sound pretty intimidating to some of our caregivers, so I have this little simple tool right here that is going to help immensely. This fun little tool is just half of a pipe cleaner with some beads on it. I put 2 beads to kind of knot the ends, and then I put 6 beads in the middle that students can slide back and forth. Now, I mentioned a literacy night at the beginning of this video. If you have a literacy night or an open house or something where your parents can kind of be involved, they could actually help you make these, but I made a set for my son's kindergarten class in like 15 minutes, so that was a set of 20. It's pretty simple. As for how you can actually use these, there are so many fun ideas. Let me show you a couple. Okay, so I already showed you how to make these little tools, but they are very simple, and again, they're tactile, so students generally love them. But what you'll have them do is move all the beads to one side, and I love using these for 3 main activities. I like using it for sounds in a word, syllables in a word, and words in a sentence. So a few different phonological and phonemic awareness activities. So if I gave students the word cat, they would simply move each bead over for the sounds they hear. So they would say k, a, t. And then you could ask them how many sounds were in that word. When they're done, they can say cat and move them all over if they want, but that might be a little confusing because they might think 6 sounds in the word, but this is mostly just getting it reset for another one. If we were going to do syllables in a word, students would simply repeat the word again and then move over each bead for each syllable. So let's pretend they're doing table, table, table. 2 syllables in that word. Let's try another one. Alligator. So let's say alligator or tor, however they say it. 4 beads. 4 syllables. I also really like this tool for counting out the words in a sentence. And for that, you would simply say a sentence like, the dog came home. They would have to repeat the sentence and move over a bead for each word. The dog came home. The dog came home. 4 words in that sentence. Now, I wouldn't expect parents to know how to do this all on their own, so of course I would send home those 3 different ideas for using this tool on a little piece of paper along with the tool. And then it's also a good idea to send home some quick word lists so they have examples of words they may want to do this with their child. Okay, at-home literacy activity number 2 is called categories. And this one has students really thinking and talking about different words and building up their vocabulary. This one's pretty simple. All you'll have to do is come up with a category, for example, fruit. And the people in your household can just go around, or if it's just you and that child, you can just go back and forth and come up with as many different types of fruit as you can. So each person will just add a new one. You can make a list and write them down if you want. You can also simply say them aloud and keep track of it in your head until you can't think of any more fruits. Some other examples of categories include things like other food categories, like vegetables or desserts. You could do different types of animals, like farm animals or ocean animals. You could have students think of outdoor activities or things you can use when it's cold or hot or rainy. Like I said before, this type of activity really gets students building their vocabulary and thinking about different words and their meaning and their uses, which will help in a ton of literacy activities as we read more stories and just build their background knowledge. Literacy activity number 3 to do at home kind of goes with that first one I shared about reading, but this is going to be to make a purposeful effort to read non-fiction books at home. Children, especially in the younger years, are exposed to much more fantasy and fiction stories than they are nonfiction, which is always interesting because nonfiction is really, takes up so much of the real world in terms of emails, news articles, different grocery lists, things that we as adults read on a daily basis. So it's always a good idea to expose students to nonfiction texts, and it can actually be a whole lot of fun because you can learn so many cool facts together by reading this with your child. Just like the vocabulary activity, this also helps really develop a strong knowledge foundation about all different types of topics, and you can let your students kind of guide you in terms of what they want to learn about. Of course, when you're reading all these new facts, be sure to discuss your learning with your child, and feel free to share the new learning you as the adult also learned, because that's fun for them to kind of see that you're still learning too along with them. Okay, so just to go over all 3 ideas, your students will want to practice phonemic awareness at home, and a simple tool like this one right here really helps. Also, by sending a word list home, like I said, I would probably change up the word list based on what you're learning in class. So once a month, you can maybe send some new words or sentences for students to try this at home with their parents. Number 2 is to amp up that vocabulary by playing a game like categories. And number 3 is to be very purposeful and try to choose some nonfiction stories to read with your children. So let me know in the comments which of these ideas you enjoyed, which one you might be trying, and if you have any of your own fun and effective literacy ideas that parents could do at home, drop them down in the comments below. We can make a whole long list and make parents' lives just a little bit easier. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That helps you get notified every time I upload a new video, which right now is every Thursday and Sunday morning. See you in the next one. Bye.